PayPal is really the fusion of two companies, and it's a very fast shotgun wedding. But this company then called and kind of revived, but then called X.com that Elon founded,
Yeah.
merged with a company called Confinity that Peter Thiel and Max Levchin founded. That company, Confinity, had a product called PayPal. X.com had its own peer-to-peer payments product. Those two companies merge in March of 2000. Part of the reason that they merge is because Peter senses that the market has become way too ridiculous when it comes to .coms. Like, people are getting millions of dollars of investment for like ideas. Famously, like Pets.com is taking out Super Bowl ads. It's like these insane valuations for companies that are just ideas on a napkin. Peter says the market's about to collapse. And he says this like throughout the early part of 2000. And he's kind of saying the sky is going to fall. The sky is going to fall. Just days after the company completes its merger and closes a $100 million round, the NASDAQ begins to slide. And that slide wipes off, if I remember my numbers right, it was like 86% of the value of the NASDAQ within a year, right? And so it's this extraordinary moment of chaos. Like, there's just like companies going under left and right. And again, some portion of your listeners will remember this and have probably lived through it. This is a really dark time. There's all these people who are basically like, the internet's just hype. It's jumped the shark. There's like this famous Barron's cover that's like Amazon.bomb, right? Again, for context, like Amazon stock at one point drops to like $2.50 or $2.30 a share. That's how low things got. So that's the period. And Peter presciently is pushing his team. And one of his team members actually said the following. He said, I've never seen Peter push as hard as he did during this period for us to close that round, because he sensed things were just about to fall apart. And he was correct.
I heard he even went, and this could be totally apocryphal, that he went so far as to say we should put the money into like a hedge fund that I have and figure out how to make even more off it.
Not apocryphal. I wrote about it, and I confirmed that story with 2 or 3 of the board members who actually were there. And it's this amazing moment in the middle of the story. Peter goes into a meeting. Elon at this point is CEO, and Elon hands him the mic with a little bit of reluctance. He says, Peter has something he'd like to share. I spoke to all of them about this because I was really intrigued by it. And Peter basically outlines what happened. He says, listen, the company has just closed this big round, but the market's about to fall apart. We should transfer the money that we just raised to a hedge fund, to my hedge fund, and I'll short the market and we'll make a ton of money. And the board is aghast. And there's this board member who I write about in there who very calmly is like, Peter, when we take on investment capital, there's like certain things we can and can't do with it. What you just outlined, while it might be a smart idea, is actually something we can't do with that capital. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to reject that idea. And there are other board members, I guess, who are varying degrees of upset about this or whatever. But the point is that he was right. And actually, one of the board members reflected to me later. He's like, there's a case to be made that if we had done that, we actually would have made a lot more money than we did doing PayPal.
Run the Numbers is a mostly LLC production. Yelling an intro by Fat Joe. Artwork by some AI thingamajig. Podcast and video editing is done by Cleancast at cleancast.io. Nothing said on this podcast is intended to be business or investment advice. It's the sole opinion of me, a guy who feeds his dog too much ice cream and has a history of net operating losses, LOL. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And also check out mostlymetrics.com. That's my newsletter where I explore business models and financial metrics. Thanks for riding with me. Share this with your friends. Peace.